Welcome to Blood in the Snow Radio, where we give you the latest news and interviews with the best in Canadian genre cinema. Here are your hosts, Robert Bellamy and Festival Director Kelly Michael Stewart.
And now on Bits Radio, we decided to delve into Bits a little bit here. We have Carolyn, who is part of the committee for Blood in the Snow. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm
Programmer.
great. Hi.
Programmer, there we go.
Yeah.
I got your official title now.
Yes, I'm the newbie programmer.
The
Yes.
newbie programmer. So now I'm guessing Kelly asked you on because we want to get your perspective on Blood in the Snow. Because you're, like you said, you're the newbie.
Well, I'll tell you that I've been a fan of Blood in the Snow before I started working for them. And I was saying to Jen, the festival coordinator, that I was shocked that I hadn't heard about Blood in the Snow beforehand. I believe I attended to the 2012 festival, so that was my first kind of introduction. And I thought to myself, like, why haven't I heard? Well, where have I been? So I started attending yearly, and it kind of blew my mind that we had so much talent right here in Canada. So, and I think that I don't know, I found it it was an unmined, basically, resource. And I'm like, we have so many talented people here.
Oh, huge.
And they need basically a forum to show their talent and to show what they can do. So, yeah.
It's a very underrated pool, I guess you'd say, to pull from is the Canadian Film Fest area.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I was talking to someone and they were saying, like, oh, you know, it's kind of a reflex that, oh, if a TV show or a film is made in Canada, I don't want to see it. I'm like, are you kidding me? You know?
Yes.
Like, I think you should support the country you live in and the people that are creating art. So.
Well, the one thing that we do, I think intentionally, is we don't head it over the head, the Canadian part of it. I mean, we don't hide it. Obviously, we have Canadian stuff all over it. We play with Canadian iconography and all our artwork and things like that. But yeah, it's not something that we really kind of like. We don't try and make it look like it's like, please take your medicine and watch a Canadian film.
Exactly. It's not like stuffed down people's throats. And I feel like the subject matter that people put on screen, it's not necessarily all Canadian. It's kind of a universal, subject matter that they bring out.
Absolutely. And I know that was the one thing that drew me to it, is because I got to see stuff from people from Vancouver and like last year from Nova Scotia. And this is stuff I would not normally be able to see.
We had a film from the Yukon this year.
Really?
Yeah.
So now, as a programmer,
Yes.
what is your job at Blood in the Snow?
So
We'll find out if she knows what she's supposed to be doing.
So basically, we view the films, we vet them, and we see what films fit best for. I don't really know if we could say like there's a theme, but I feel like last year everything kind of flowed really well together, and I think we chose films that worked and kind of fit, like it was kind of like a puzzle. So we fit pieces in that work together. So it may not necessarily be the same subject matter, but they just seem to work together. So a lot of that is discussing with the team what works, and what we want to basically see, what we want to bring to the fans as well. So.
Did you find, Carolyn, when you came on to the team, was it what you thought it would be like, or was it different?
No, that's a really good question, because I felt like maybe it was going to be. I think it was the type of films that were being submitted. I expected them to be a certain type of film, and they basically were across the board. Like, they were all genre films. A lot of them were horror and thrillers, but I was really surprised at the variety that came across. So I think I was expecting like straight horror to be submitted, and I think that was, and also I really liked the process that we had some really good discussions. I really enjoyed that. I didn't really know what to expect, but I really enjoyed the discussions and the notes that we all took and hashing it out.
Well, I think my biggest worry, I had complete confidence in your ability coming on, but you are very soft-spoken, and I think, and a few of our team, including myself, and we can be pretty boisterous and pretty opinionated. And I remember I made a point of telling you is that if you feel that your voice isn't being heard, let me know.
Right.
Let me know and make sure to come back to you, because they can it can get a little intense sometimes. So we wanted to make sure that everyone had their, that you were an equal part of the team, and it's like didn't get shouted down at. And
Well, and it was great too because I didn't actually feel like that either. Like I felt like I could speak up, but I actually kind of enjoyed the discussion, quote unquote.
Right.
I actually enjoyed it because I was getting a feel for what it was like to kind of be in the program on the programming team. So, yeah. I thought it's kind of funny actually.
Yeah.
So now, you got hired, but I'm just curious, what prompted you to decide to apply for something like this?
She was recruited.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
That's different. Okay.
There was no we didn't take resumes and applications like that. It was just simply.
Hey, you come here.
I was left in a box on the
doorstep. We actually had 2 programmers that just because it's a huge time commitment, and for various reasons, 2 of them had to pull out the year earlier, and we were a really tight group. So there was a little bit and I suggested, I think we need another programmer. And then I don't know if you, but there was a bit of resistance, not with you, but just in general, why do we need another? We're choreographer said, no, I think we need one more. And so I'm the boss, so I come around. Yeah. And then like what Carolyn says, I was aware. Right from the get-go. I remember meeting you at one of the, I think it was in year 2 actually. Yeah, at the closing night, or I think probably one of the parties anyway.
Yeah.
And then she was writing for her blog, Rosemary's Pixie. I still remember her in 2015 when she was still doing press, and we were so crowded at the Carlton because we were selling everything out. We had to actually put our press in the rush line, because we didn't know if we could get them in or not.
Really?
And Carolyn would always be at the front of the line, just looking all, do I wait? Can I get in? I still remember that, and I just knew how passionate she was for it. So I knew. So I knew she was a good writer, and 2, I knew she was dedicated because she was coming. I could,
These are prime examples. Like we mentioned it with Black Fawn, but it definitely applies here. It's the personality. It's the personability. You're talking with her all the time. You talked with Mikey, and that's what builds these connections. It's not necessarily a business connection. It's a friend connection.
I mean, as much as this is a, talking with the festival weekend, this is like our friends we're all hanging out. It's like we're having a big party. And although I will say, Carolyn joined the team actually just before Shock Stock last year. And I said to her, don't be offended. I think it's best you come next year. Because I was really nervous, because Shock Stock can be pretty crazy. And I just I don't want to scare her away 2 weeks into the job. It's just
let's get her secure in the job.
Yeah, let's have a good year. Let's just do the normal thing. And then and if we're acting stupid, it'll be a bit more forgiving.
So now I obviously have to go to you.
Yes.
What do you think of Shock Stock?
I love it. I'm really having a great time because it's very close knit. Everybody's having a great time. Everyone's so friendly, and it's nice that I'm. You know someone when you share a room with someone, right?
Oh
you
yeah.
get to know them really well, and I'm really enjoying that part too. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Have you been able to get everywhere and see everything yet?
Oh yeah. I've been around. I've actually spent way too much then.
That happens on these weekends, though.
It's crazy.
I hope you mind me saying this, but it was a funny little. It shows you how passionate we were like that too. It's when I got in the car yesterday to come here, I got a text from her. She goes, Kelly, am I fired? And it's like, I'm like, no, what are you talking about? It's just like, well, you posted a photo and I'm not included. It's like, it was a photo from Shock Stock last year. You weren't there. I still tagged you. It's like, don't worry, we'll do our group photo. It's like,
I'm such a nerd because I was the kid in grade school who, when you're picking teams, I always got picked last. But they didn't know, for baseball, I was a southpaw. So I would knock it out of the park.
Oh, yes.
Right? So they were like, oh, here comes with Carolyn. Oh, she's not gonna hit it out. So they'd move in, and I'm like, okay, move in, and I'd knock it out.
Knock it out.
Nice.
Yeah.
That
so.
sums you up to a T. Just like. But you think here's the thing that you're if you haven't figured it out yet, we're all misfits.
I know.
We were all
That's
the ones
the thing.
that didn't get picked
I love
for
it.
baseball. Okay.
Right.
Okay. This
But
is
you
like
know
the
what?
misfits of science all getting together and like.
I'll tell you something though. Like from the outside, when I was on the outside, I'm like, my God, these guys are so.
You bought me
cool.
Sinbad movies.
I
That
know.
tells you everything.
But you guys are like, from the outside, you're like, oh my God, these guys are so cool, and like they're running a film festival. Oh my God! Like when you called me, I'm like, because remember you messaged me like, oh, I'd like to talk to you. And I'm like, say what? So and then you call me, and I'm like, what? Because I still feel like. 3 people read my blog, like 2 are my best friends, and then
Right. And
my
me.
boyfriend, and then Kelly, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a pleasant surprise, but yeah.
Yeah.
These guys are crazy personable.
Yeah.
Because I remember the first time you and I chatted, because you got a hold of us about Late Night Double Feature.
Right.
And that's when we ventured into Blood in the Snow. I found out about Blood in the Snow and started
okay.
talking more about that. But yeah, you came on and you were just chatting away, and I'm thinking, okay, here's a guy from a festival. I better bring my A game and be good. And you were making more jokes than I was.
Yeah. And I have a good story. I have a really good memory of Kelly. I think it was at one of the pub nights at After Dark, and we had just such a nice conversation. And then after, Kelly gave me a hug, and I'm like, oh my God, he's so nice, And then after, I'm like, oh my God, he's calling me to like join the team. So that's one memory I have of Kelly, that he's so lovely.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Kelly. Go ahead.
So what have you thought of this convention so far? What are the different
I love it. Everybody's just so cool and laid back. It's not like, and I like that people are. It kind of reminds me of Bits in the way that everyone's kind of mingling and hanging out.
Yeah.
And it's not like a money. I have to make money. Everyone's kind of just talking to each other and finding out about each other.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I really like about it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, thank you very much, Carolyn.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And-
thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see what happens in November. We'll blame anything on her.
Yeah.
Oops.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Bye.
We now have the privilege of sitting here with Darren Hutchings. How are you, Darren?
How you doing? I'm doing great. It's Shock Stock weekend. It's always amazing.
Yeah, let's call it a
It's-
convention.
Have you been here every year, or pretty much?
I've only missed 1 year of,
Yeah.
of Blood in the Snow and 1 year of Shock Stock. I've
right.
been to every other one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Again, it's just there's people that you see, and you only see them that one time a year, and you all hug, and you pick up all these conversations that got left off a year ago, and you talk about all the great movies you've seen, and all the shitty movies you've seen, and all the stuff you've been going through, and it really is. It's the best of a dysfunctional family reunion.
I love that description.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. Now, I was lucky enough. Blood in the Snow just released with Black Fawn distribution, Bloody Bits.
Yes.
And on that is a collection of short films over the years. You have one on there.
Yeah, indeed.
Tasha and Friends. We just discussed it was from year 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a brilliant little piece.
I'm glad you liked it. We, our writer and director, Greg Kovacs. I mean, he's worked in children's animation for a long time. So I think a lot of that kind of comes out in.
I see a lot of regressed anger in that.
Exactly. when you have to animate the same dance sequence over and over and over again, and that music gets stuck in your head, I'm
Yes.
sure it drives you a little bit around the bend. So I think that was his venting moment for Tasha and Friends. And actually, Fun, one of the films we've got playing this year, it's another puppet film. And,
Really?
And it's wholesome family entertainment.
I
Nothing
don't
horrible
doubt
goes
that
wrong.
at all.
Nothing horrible goes wrong at all, honestly. Yeah.
Man.
But watch for it at a festival near you.
Yes. Well, this festival. Is it on the screening later today?
Screened last night, actually. Yep.
Oh, crap. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one of the other ones that was 2 years ago I actually got to see was Oh Christmas Tree.
Yes.
That was beautifully crazy.
Yep. We with Oh Christmas Tree, we started to get a little more involved with camera movement and being able to rack focus and having the confidence to to actually kind of try a few different shots that we normally wouldn't have. So it turned out to be a really, really fun shoot. It was cold as hell. I mean, we were shooting, it was about minus 35 in Norwich, Ontario. We're all standing out just absolutely freezing to death, the poor actors who are sitting there, and the rest of us don't even have lights, the heavy lights on. We're just absolutely freezing to death. But it was, I don't know, it was one of the more fun shoots that we've had.
That is
we get
awesome.
to play around a lot with that one.
And that's what I find with a lot of people with independent film. It's always a huge learning curve.
Oh, it is, totally. Every film, you learn something new, and it's something that you can take to make the next production a little more smooth, and then you find other road bumps in the next production that you learn from, and you learn to smooth those out on the next shoot, and the next shoot, and the next shoot, right? But it's, I don't know, that's why we're doing this stuff.
Exactly.
Well, the thing is, Robert, I don't know if you know, but Darren and Greg are the only filmmakers to ever play Blood in the Snow all for the first 5 years. In fact, that's why we gave them the Vanguard Award last year.
I do remember that.
And that's the first time that's a new award that we're going to start giving out every year. And they were, and Darren and Greg were the first recipients of that.
Oh, thank you very much, by the way.
Yeah. Welcome. Well deserved.
Now we're just waiting for submissions to see if there's going to be a 6.
Maybe.
Well,
we have a few to put in this year.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So it's interesting. So it is interesting to see that trajectory, and probably you guys more than anyone. We were actually just talking about this last night, that they were not only in the first year, but they were the first film, because they were the opening. They were the opening night film. They opened for Post-Lifers opened before Sick for that year.
Okay.
So it was literally
Ryan Andrews.
It literally was the first film we've ever played.
Wow.
Yeah, that unique distinction.
That was such a blast. Oh my god!
And you didn't know. You don't. And it was funny too when we started it. We certainly didn't know we would have this much history 6 years later with your team,
right?
And like that too. It would just happen to be that would be happening the opening night film. It just did that. Just way kind of some cosmic energy there, kind of going on.
It's all worked out. I mean, I still remember that night and being. That was the first night that I saw that first film that we as a production company made. That's the first time that I saw it in front of like a non-friends and family audience, and I was nervous as hell. And I'm sitting in this damn near, I mean, it was like 2/3 full theater, like real theater, big theater, not like.
It was a 300-seat theater, by the way. It was a big place.
I know, right? Like it was absolutely nerve-wracking, and at least to get people, to know that people were laughing at the jokes and that they kind of got it. That was such. It was that. I don't know. It was a real relief and a release to know that we weren't just crazy. We did kind of make something that people thought was funny and had fun with, and that's great. We finally got that. But that the lead up to that just was so goddamn nail biting.
Well, yeah, because it's funny, and your family laughs because you made it.
Well, exactly. So, they're there, dear. Yeah.
Yes,
that
that was nice.
The mom head pop, right?
But when you get that audience reaction,
you finally get
that's
that.
when it's real.
Yes, and it didn't feel real until then. Yeah, it was a very surreal experience.
I've actually heard filmmakers say that. That's a common thing where the real thing that term gets thrown around a lot when it's like now it got real.
Yeah,
it's like that. It's interesting. There's something about seeing it with it, because I'll tell you this too. I mean, you've probably encountered this too. There's been times where you've maybe screened at something where there wasn't a big crowd, it wasn't like that, and it felt like it didn't screen. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's like, and there's like kind of like maybe it's been in like some little corner room. There's festival like a little, and then it's like there was no one in that, and it was like because a lot of festivals like have like they do that here where they're in conference rooms and they pull up screens like that. But there's actually like film festivals that do that sometimes, and sometimes they get attended, and sometimes they don't. And sometimes there's like I'll walk past a room and there's no one in the room, and then you get kind of philosophical, like the tree falling in the forest thing. It's like did it really play?
Did it actually play?
Did it actually?
and without exactly without that audience reaction, it's hard to. If you're playing to an empty room, you're playing to an empty room.
You're playing an empty room. It's almost like it didn't happen.
It's almost like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
No, it really is. I love that, but I love seeing the films we make with audiences. But the first time is always nerve-wracking. It is never not nerve-wracking, that first screening, because it's that first time you're letting that baby go right out into the world to take its steps, and either it's going to stand on its own merits or it's not. And for all that you think, you've made a good film here.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know until you actually get that first screening.
Yeah.
What's your biggest surprise of all the films you've screened? Was there anything like where the reaction surprised you? Like maybe even just a moment that maybe they laughed at something you didn't expect them to laugh, or there was something that you thought they were going to get a big reaction that didn't?
No, it's been surprisingly consistent. Oddly enough, it's always like I said, it's always nerve-wracking, but I'm always watching for specific jokes and specific gags, and people seem to be getting them. And you know what? Actually, the one that did get me was the first time that we screened a film in Germany. I went over to it's a town outside of Munich called Landshut, and they do. It is a week-long short film festival. They only screen short films, so it's about 300 films through the entire week. And everything from about 10 p.m. On is called the shock block of films, and it's only horror films. And I was a little bit worried with the post-lifers being so dialogue-heavy and relying so much on like colloquialism and slang. Like when you're looking at playing this in English in a country that's not the primary language, how many of these jokes are going to translate? And they all did, and I was surprised at that because there'd be stuff. There's a lot of sexual slang in there that you figure it's Urban Dictionary territory, right? But 3 seconds after the joke gets done, the entire theater would erupt in laughter because they'd be doing like the mental processing of doing the translating, and then go, "Oh, I get it now! That was awesome." So that was the surprising bit. That something that was so dialogue heavy actually translated well to international audiences. That was a huge a door blowing open moment.
Wow, yeah.
That is excellent. Now, I just have to ask, you said you're a cinematographer, like that's what you like to do.
Yes.
How did you get into that?
Films were my escape growing up, right? Horror movies especially. And I always paid attention to framing. And I don't know, like you look at partnerships like John Carpenter and Dean Cundy, and the stuff that they've done over the years has just been these are the films that absolutely inspired me, and just like the presence of frame and the attention to minimalist moves when needed. I love that stuff. I love composing that, and I don't know. It's a control thing. Maybe I'm a closet control freak. I don't know, but I want to. I'm the guy who's like, well, I think we need a light blue gel in that corner.
The cool thing is, when you're talking about it, I can see the passion.
But that's the
and
thing.
that's beautiful.
I love, right?
That's exactly why we get into this.
That's what fires me up about it. I love that. I love the composing a shot. Everything from the mechanical stuff of moving the lights around to framing to blocking to adjusting. I love that. What I really want to do is I want to shoot something in scope, where we've been shooting in 1080p 16:9. I want to shoot something in like anamorphic 235 widescreen. That's what I want to do.
We shot a late night double feature in scope actually.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I'm longing to do that. Absolutely longing to do that.
So when we talked earlier about passion projects and something that somebody would jump into just to do it, sounds like this is your...
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So anybody listening, thinking of shooting in scope, this is your guy.
I can and will.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Happy Shockstock, guys.
All right, happy Easter.
And I'll be talking to you later.
You got it.
Bye.
And now on Bits Radio, we have the privilege of sitting with Mikey McMurran. How are you doing, Mikey?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I think you're lying to me, man.
Really?
Okay. I don't think you're being 100% truthful.
I'm having a fantastic, amazing time. Fantabulous time.
There we
yes.
go.
We should give some context of why this weekend is extra fabulous for you.
Yes. It is my bachelor party. So I brought my groomsmen down. Some are Shockstock virgins. Some are not.
Yeah.
There are things that we can't unsee, and they are great things.
Yeah.
It's been very good.
I thought it was cool they had to wheel you down in a wheelchair. That was must have been a good night, right?
I don't remember that. If I cannot confirm if that has or has not happened, but if it did, it sounds really awesome.
So how have you been? I remember, I think last we spoke was you were at Blood in the Snow with Secret Santa.
Yeah.
And I know you've been busy.
Yes, we've been really busy. Actually, we're shooting. I'm actually shooting a horror anthology right now, so it's going to be about 3 stories, horror comedy. We just wrapped. I almost finished the first cut a couple days ago on it. It's called The Workout, is our first segment. So it stars Annette Wozniak from Secret Santa and Bite, and Matt Chisholm from Secret Santa, and we actually got Rye Barrett to come on board. And
Really?
That's really good to get him, because I know he doesn't get to be in very many movies, so I'm glad you got him some work.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Sarcasm.
It's about, the first story is this couple moves into a house, and they find these old tapes hidden behind the furnace, and they're old workout tapes of this 80s fitness guru. Hey, buddy. So they discover these tapes, and it's Rye Barrett as basically Richard Simmons on meth and steroids, and / Macho Man, and he starts to possess Matt, but not like your typical possession. So he starts cutting his pants in his short shorts, and he's obsessed with working out all the time, and he won't eat anything that has any calories in it, and basically becomes Jimmy, who is Rye's role, and it is some of the most ridiculous shit.
Nice.
You'll see the possession scene, or the exorcism scene is very unique. I feel like I might have brought something new to the table in exorcism films. I can't say what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of a bold statement, but I probably you probably haven't seen it before. Some interesting methods.
I'm liking this. Okay.
Yeah.
It puts the Exorcist to shame.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
Your words, not mine.
Can you imagine?
Can I get a quote on that?
Yeah. Please.
It's gonna be the
DVD.
It's gonna be the tagline on the poster.
Please don't.
Kelly Michael Stewart.
Please don't. I'm going on air to say, please don't. Oh, dear.
So, how have things been since Secret Santa? Because I know you got distribution and it's been out there.
Yeah. Wild Eye releasing's been amazing. The film has gone places that I never thought it would go. They've been really good with us with getting it out to, especially the stores. I'm really impressed with. The coolest thing for me was I used to work at a DVD store called Cinema One in my local mall, and it was really cool. My goal when I was shooting Secret Santa, I was working there. I was like, I'll get this movie on this shelf one day in the horror section. So a year later, it was so cool to go to the video store and see in the new release section, see the movie. So it's in a lot of stores. And it's doing really well, like on Amazon, and it's on Google Play and a bunch of other on-demand stuff. It's really, really cool to hear from people who've watched it too. People from, a guy from Texas did like a review on it and just really enjoyed it, and people from Las Vegas and that. So it's done really, really well. I'm really happy with it.
That is awesome.
It's an interesting journey when you go from festivals to distribution, because it's kind of like two different lives, because you have the festival life, and it's more immediate. You see the fan reaction, but it's a small. But if you look at it in the big scheme of things, it's a small crowd. It's like a few. Even if you do an entire festival, and you're talking about a few hundred people, and then suddenly you put it on especially on a VOD platform, and then potentially thousands of people have seen it now, and maybe tens of thousands of people, and it's kind of jarring, and then you realize, wow, then that kind of opens up, and then that's when all the IMDb comments and different kind of things like that, like that too. The trailer. Well, I'm speaking from experience too on that. It's like, and then like the trailer gets a huge bump from all that kind of thing like that. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but like it's like, whoa, suddenly there's just like this wake up thing of like, it really is two different lives, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. Just even going from from the premiere Blood in the Snow, which being my first feature film, and to be in there with the sold out crowd is just, it's an amazing feeling, one I wasn't quite ready for, but in a good way, and then to have it released in front of the world. You're putting yourself out there, but I mean, for the most part, the feedback's been really good. Like I haven't had too many people say my film sucks. Well, I mean,
now we're here to tell you.
Damn it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And I don't know if you know this, Robert, but Mikey and I have a bit of a history with Shockstock. How the history in relating to the history of Secret Santa.
Really?
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
This I need to hear.
Well, was it 4 years ago, 3 years ago?
It was 2014, I think.
Yeah, and I was just going around. I hadn't made Secret Santa, never made a feature. I had 2 of my shorts playing at Shockstock. I had Demon Bitch playing, and I was just going around because I had started my crowdfunding campaign for Secret Santa, and I was like, I'm getting into something crazy. So yeah, I was going around Shockstock. My short was playing, and I was just starting the crowdfunding campaign for Secret Santa as my first feature, and I was I've done shorts, but none have really lasted longer than like a couple days shooting. So I mean, it's a totally different animal doing a feature. And so I just was going around asking people for advice, and Kelly and the rest of them at Blood and Snow were amazing, helping me out, just saying, whatever advice, like whatever helpful advice that they from their knowledge. And so the next year we came and we screened. That's where I met you, actually, I believe. Or it was one of the cons.
The trailer.
The trailer.
Yeah. That was Shockstock.
That was, and we played the trailer we had literally just finished shooting, like less than like a couple weeks before that, I think. So I was racing to cut a trailer together because I got the table for here to promote the movie. And so that's when, we were already starting talking about like the project and everything. And then the next year, that we got that following year into Blood in the Snow, and then we it was cool because we screened it at Blood in the Snow. It was amazing. That's still the most fun festival we've been a part of. Like, it's amazing. And what's great about that is you guys like really it was very well done, well organized. You made us feel really special, especially for like the press and all that. Like it was unbelievable. It was a great experience.
Well, what was funny was when it's funny, like, because you talk to a lot of people and they're like, oh yeah, I want to make a film. Well, what do you think of it? And it doesn't, it's like whatever, okay, fine. And you talk about it and they're like that. And then a year later, and they're like, oh yeah, like we went and actually did that. We went and made a movie. And then you were like, and then it was like. Talk about, you're talking about submitting to Blood in the Snow, and I remember I had a little bit of a panic in my head. I'm like, oh God, if we hate this movie, like we just told this guy to go make a movie and inspire, and he's like, you're talking about how inspired he was, and I'm like, it's like, if we don't like this movie, we're going to destroy this guy. It's just like,
please be good.
Please, yeah, I really would. This was one of those cases where you're rooting for everybody, but in this particular case, you're like, oh God, for the love of God,
please don't let this suck.
Yeah.
Trust me, I was saying that every day on set, man.
Yeah, please don't suck.
Please don't suck.
And then when we got to picking the films. We didn't have a final. We didn't have it wasn't like, because a lot of times, I don't know if people listening realize this, but when you submit to a festival, sometimes the film isn't completely done. In fact, I'll tell you, there's a lot of films that play festivals that aren't done. Like the ones that play, even films that play TIFF. I know for a fact that a lot of them, they'll go back and finish the sound mix after and do tweaks on. It ended up being more of a festivals. A lot of times, especially the premieres, become a test screening. Of it, because you don't really know what it's going to be like until you play in front of a large audience or a large theater or something like that. So anyway, you submitted a version that was not 100% done at that point. You were still doing color grade and sound, I think.
Yeah, we were just desperate to do our final mix, and we were color grading, but my color grading kept crashing.
Oh, you were doing it. Yeah.
I was doing it, and it was just so frustrating.
Yeah.
And I was like having panic attacks, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna make the deadline for that. And you were saying you were talking with like Kirk, and then we're like, should we just tell him? Like he's like freaking out. Like, should we just tell him?
Well, actually, how it happened was you submitted it. We were going to see it, and here's the thing: I am reluctant to say yes to films if they haven't finished their post, because I don't know their situation, and the last thing I want is the filmmakers pulling it, or we're playing something they don't want to play, blah blah blah. Because from the time that we accept it, which is usually the first week of October, around that, to playing is less than 8 weeks. So if they haven't got it finished, they got a really short window. In fact, we have to have it 2 weeks before we play it. So they really have about 4 weeks to get it to us. But so I messaged you and said, we're making a final decision, but can you send us to it? Well, we got to get the final version by whatever Tuesday, whatever. And I remember Mikey messaged us and like distraught, like Tuesday morning. I'm sorry, Kelly. I wasn't able to get you. It was an email, but I'm assuming the voice sounded like this.
You're correct. You're correct.
I'm sorry, Kelly. I just like this devastating. And I didn't even talk to anyone. It was just my own, because it's my own. It was my, at that point, it's just my call how I handle it. And I had this devilish look on my face. I'm like, there's that power, it's like, and because I knew you were getting in. We already decided that, but I'm like, oh, I could fuck with this guy for 24 hours if I wanted to. Just give him the worst. And I was just saying, would it be really great to have like a really horrible 24 hours and then have something really amazing happen and you appreciate it more?
Yeah, for sure.
And then, or do I just not be a dick and just let him know right now? And so I decided to go with not be a dick. I didn't need that karma in the universe.
Dude.
And it's just like,
I was freaking out. Like, I was like, oh my God, we're not going to get into this festival. I'm going to be so fucked.
I would have been hard pressed not to mess with him.
It was so tempting.
I was having like just like almost like a nervous breakdown, like just by because I was like up all night trying to fix it and get it going just so I could export it. And so I had like, I think I was up all night. I think I messaged you in the morning and I was just like, I was like, it was wonderful news at the end, but the first part was awful because I thought, and the thing was, it was a trial run because we weren't going to do the grindhouse grading. We did a film emulation, so we did like a stock, like a Kodak 16, Super 16 stock look, and it looked really good, but some of the feedback was it looked a little dark, and so we went back and we changed it a bit, used a lighter stock emulation, a different kind of, instead of Kodak, that brightened it up. And then we just upped the exposure. And then I was like, you know what? I feel like I need to put the grindhouse filters in. Like, I feel like you need the scratches and the dust and that, because it really, I think, adds to it. So we went back and did that. And again, my color grading crashed. So, but I don't use that program anymore, by the way. No.
It'd be gone.
It's just, it won't even open now. It's just
you broke it.
I broke it. But yeah, no, it's interesting when you see like your film, like we hadn't watched it in a theater yet either. Like Blood in the Snow was literally like the first time we saw it in a theater. So there is a bit of a nerve-wracking experience because you're just like it's big and it's bold and it's in front of a whole bunch of people. Oh God, hope they like it. Again, please don't suck. I kept saying that in my head.
And the other interesting thing about your screening too is that your second screening for it actually was your first screening.
Yes.
Because we booked you in the midnight slot, and we were pleasantly surprised how it sold out very, very quickly. And we added a second screening, which also sold out. But because it was the midnight, the only opening we had was 6:30 that Saturday, and they had the midnight screening. So you actually had your repeat screening that would have before the world
midnight,
it was kind of weird, kind of like which is really, you're like, well, which is the premiere? It's just like, because usually we try to do the repeat after obviously the first screening, but just the way the scheduling worked, that's how it
worked for me, man.
It worked for there was no problem. No problem.
I like walked
I'm on the screen. I'm good.
I walked into that 6:30 screening and nearly like shit my pants. Like I was not ready for it. The turnout was amazing, and I was just like ready to like spew down the aisle. Like I was just so nervous.
We actually have been talking about that. That's the moment it becomes real.
Yeah.
The first time you see it on the screen with people you don't know.
Yes.
Or even worse, when people you do know.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, okay, yeah.
People you don't know are usually pretty polite.
Yeah.
Whereas you'll see like one of your buddies like, who's that asshole? Right in the middle of the screening. So, but yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it was unbelievable, and all the festivals that we've done since then, it's been amazing. But Blood in the Snow, those first two screenings were amazing. Like they were such a great feeling to be part of.
Join us next time for Blood in the Snow Radio. Bits Radio is a production of Three Evil Cats Productions in association with the Blood in the Snow Canadian Film Festival. For more information and to listen to other episodes, visit bloodinthesnow.ca and tweet us at BitsFilmFest. Music by Jen Gorman, produced and edited by Kelly Michael Stewart. I am Eduardo Correa Lima.